Hello and welcome to this third video of ChatGPT Opportunity and Challenge for Learning. In this third video that I called Training ChatGPT, I'm going to focus in the possibility that we have to train ChatGPT to change its behavior and its knowledge and the things it knows and its abilities to serve us better. And this is a feature that has not only ChatGPT but any large language model. As in the last video, I introduced the idea of its architecture of the large language models, which is something that a company, a research team trains using algorithms and a lot of computational power and energy and huge data sets to create this first raw model, and then this model is fine-tuned to behave in a given way. Right now, not only ChatGPT is out there, but we have a lot of other models that are arising, models owned by companies like Google. Google just released BART a few weeks before, and above all, there are a lot of open source models that we will be able to run in our computers, or companies like universities or, I don't know, persons, we can install in our computers and run it from our computers and refine them how we want. So it's something to keep in mind. We can refine open source models to behave how we want, and every day and every week open source models are becoming better and closing the gap between the high-end models like GPT-4. Let's continue. Remember that we have a prompt, and this prompt is fed to ChatGPT, to the model, to the trained model, and it provides us with an answer. But it's not only that. We have this prompt and then it provides an answer, but the answer not only comes from the knowledge and the parameters that are in the model, but also depends from the context, from the previous conversation. All the conversation, all the things that we have said to ChatGPT and ChatGPT has answered back to us are fed in the conversation and are going to modify the conversation that we have. And this is a really interesting tool because we can use this in our advantage and teach skills to ChatGPT. I will use just an example, and what I would like you to do is, knowing this, do your tests, think in the problems that you have to solve every day, your activities, things that can be automated, things that your students can do, and given these examples, find your own applications. It's not this specific case. So, for instance, let's see how do we teach skills to the learning management system, the large language model. For instance, in this case, I tell him, write a long essay about how email can cause stress in our lives. This is generic use of a large language model of ChatGPT, and it blurbs out a paragraph about stress and email, and it has some kind of sense, but it doesn't have a given style. Now what I'm going to do is, since I have this article written by me in my blog, it's an article that I wrote several years back, and I republished it when I started my new blog, and I'm going to tell him, in this link there's a blog post written by me in Spanish. I give him the link, and now I said read it and then rewrite the former essay in my style, still in English. So let me go back here. So I'm telling him, here we have a link. There you will find an article in Spanish, and it's not important the content of the article, but the style of the writer. In this case, it's me. So you have to go to the web, use a plugin to go to the web, get this text, fit it in your context, make sense of what is the style of this writer in Spanish, and then rewrite what you just wrote before in English, and rewrite it in English in this style. And here we have it. ChatGPT uses WebPilot, gets the information from the web, and now says, I have read your blog post in Spanish. Based on the style and tone of your writing, I will now rewrite the essay about how the email can cause stress in our lives in a similar tone to yours. And it produces some text that it reminds me, it's not a plain text, it's not a vanilla text, but has a little bit of the style that I use, the kind of phrases that I use, even the kind of words that I use. And I can do it in the style of another writer. I can get a style of a writing that I like and say, write it in this style. And so we can do a lot of things. Let's just think about this, what just happened. This text is not just a query to ChatGPT, is a text generated by ChatGPT and then rewritten to emulate the way that I write in another language. What this tells us is that it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for a software to detect that this text that we have here has been generated by an AI. It's maybe possible when we get a large text generated by an AI using a small prompt that maybe is easy to detect that has been generated by an AI. But we have a lot of research that says that this is going to be really difficult to detect if a student wants to present this as his or her own work. Plagiarism right now cannot be detected. The usage of AI cannot be detected. And we can be one of these teachers that say, I'm going to fail this student because this text is too well written. It's too well written, and that's a signal that it has been written by an AI. But I think that this is not fair. For instance, I use Language Tool, which is a tool that allows me to improve my grammar and my writing. So if I use this tool, I am copying, I'm using AI. To what degree? So now the solution is not to buy a proctoring tool or buy a plagiarism detecting tool. It's not the way. We have to think about learning activities where either it's impossible to use it because they are in front of you and they're using a pencil or something like that, or because it doesn't matter if they use it, because you have to ask them really difficult questions and maybe the large language model will not be able to detect, to respond, or they will need their criteria to say, okay, this is the right answer, and choose the right answer, maybe they haven't written. So text generated by AI, right now, you cannot be sure that you can detect it. And all the detectors are going to have false positives, and a false positive is really dangerous because it's saying that a person that has delivered an original work has copied. And well, just think about it. So how do I teach facts that are not in the model? Sometimes you ask things to ChatGPT and say, I want to know about this. And it says, my last training was in February of 2021 or something like that. And my knowledge is limited. But you can enter facts. For instance, this is the webpage of the Eurovision Song Contest in 2023. This is a Wikipedia page where it explains what happened in this contest. It's after the date when ChatGPT, even GPT-4, was trained. So it doesn't know about this. If you ask it about this, it may invent names of singers, groups, countries who won. It may invent it. It may hallucinate it. But I can copy and paste the content of the page. If I'm using GPT-3, I copy and paste the content of the page. I provide a lot of information, just copy and paste. I'm giving you some information, and in the end, I said, now write 3 paragraphs in Spanish about the song contest, include a slight irony on the poor performance of Spain in the contest, and made a handoff to the last time. As for your knowledge, Spain ended up in first place. And it makes a good 3 paragraphs about this contest, mixing the information that I just provided and knowledge that it has about the last time that Spain won this contest more than 50 years ago. And as a bonus, I can tell him, now I'm not going to paste the information, I'm just going to say, because I'm using GPT-4 and one of the plugins that allows ChatGPT to go to the web, I said, write an essay about the Eurovision 2023 Song Contest. This is the web page. Use 3 paragraphs and write like a 12-year-old. And now we have that ChatGPT uses this plugin called Web Pilot that allows it to go to the web and read a web page, and now it writes this essay as the way that it interprets that a person of 12 years old is going to write. It says the Eurovision contest was so cool, it was amazing, and even it hopes that the country, her favorite country, wins next time. So it can emulate styles, it can go to the web and get information, and can summarize, and we can teach him, and we can teach the large language model a lot of things. It's a cool tool, but it takes practice and takes imagination about how to use it. If you cannot access, because you can't pay for the paid version and you can use the plugins, you can copy and paste the contents of the pages directly yourself. You say, this is the information I want you to have, and then you are teaching ChatGPT information, and or you can paste the style that you want it to write, and a lot of other things that it can do. So go nuts, play with it, and we will talk about it. Bye bye.